There are moments when people leave without a word. One day they still care, they still say they love you. And then, silence. You start to wonder, what did I do wrong? Was I not enough? But please know this, their leaving wasn't a rejection of you. It was a reflection of something tender and frightened inside them. Sometimes, love touches a place in us that still remembers pain, and when that happens, the heart doesn't know how to stay. It only knows how to protect itself. It's not your fault, and it's not theirs. It's simply two stories meeting at a chapter where one heart was ready to open, and the other was still learning how. So let their silence be what it is, a moment of fear, not of malice. And let it remind you, you are still worthy of love, of peace, of someone who will not be afraid to stay. Healing begins when you stop asking why they left and start remembering who you are. There are people who deeply long to love and be loved, yet find their hearts closing off when affection grows too close. For them, closeness doesn't always feel comforting because it touches the places where they once got hurt. They fear depending too much, fear not knowing how to express themselves, fear watching someone walk away again, just like before. So they pull back, not because they don't care, but because they haven't yet learned how to stay in a love that feels peaceful. Many carry the memory of having to stand on their own too soon, so being close to someone can sometimes feel unsafe. If you've ever loved someone like that, remember this. They're not avoiding you. They're just not yet ready to stay with someone who can reach the softest, most fragile part of them. There are those who leave, not because they don't feel the connection, but because that closeness makes them touch the deepest parts of themselves, things they are not yet at peace with. They think that distance will help their hearts feel calmer. And perhaps at first that is true. Everything becomes quiet, no longer overflowing with emotion, no longer filled with moments that make them feel awkward or afraid. But over time, the silence begins to echo within them. What they call peace gradually becomes emptiness. And sometimes, in that emptiness, they remember, not the words that were spoken, but the feeling of being seen, of being truly present with someone. Perhaps they also feel regret, but the fear within them is still more familiar than the feeling of connection. As for you, the one left behind, you may have waited for that door to open again. But then gradually, you understand. Their regret is not an invitation for you to return, because your peace does not lie in their return, but in your return to yourself, where you still believe in gentleness, in the ability to love, and in the value of your own heart. Perhaps both of you carry wounds, but the difference lies in how you move forward. One closes their heart, while you learn to find peace again. Sometimes, silence looks like peace, but in truth, it's often just someone trying to keep their heart from spilling over with feelings they don't yet know how to face. They don't text, they don't speak, they don't come closer, not because they've stopped caring, but because inside them stillness has become a kind of armor. Some people had to learn to stand on their own far too early. For them, opening up feels risky because connection always comes with the possibility of being hurt. So when they pull away, it isn't that they didn't feel the bond. It's that closeness touches parts of them they're not yet ready or peaceful enough to face. And so they step back. They call that distance fine. But really, It's just the space where they keep what they're not ready to see. To understand this is not to excuse them, but to remind yourself that the one who leaves isn't necessarily more at peace than you. They're simply walking a different path, one where they're still learning how to turn toward themselves with gentleness. There comes a time you will no longer seek answers from others. You begin to look back at yourself, not to blame or find fault, simply to see that the things that once hurt you were actually showing you where in your heart you still long to be comforted. You understand that peace does not come from everything returning, but from when you stop clinging to what has left. Gradually, your heart settles, no longer swaying with anyone else, because you have learned how to stay with your own emotions, with gentleness and honesty. And then, you no longer need to prove anything, just to keep living fully and close enough to your own life. When your heart is calm enough, the outside world also softens. The sound of the wind, the scent of the morning, the light touching the grass, and even the smallest things in the day suddenly become enough. You no longer need to know why something happened or why someone left. Peace does not come from holding on, but from when you stop searching for answers and choose to stay with this very breath. Life does not promise that everything will be clear, but it always opens up to those who know how to tread lightly and believe in their own gentleness. And then, you no longer need to prove anything. Just be truly happy, truly whole, and close enough to your own life. Because perhaps peace has never been about holding on, but about daring to stay with yourself right in this moment.